Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is June 1st, 2023, and today is a really important meetup in the sky. Jupiter, which is the luckiest planet, the great benefic, the planet of expansion, hope, opportunity, and higher wisdom, meets up with the North Node of Karma at 8:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 3 degrees and 37 minutes of Taurus. This is a beautiful pairing. Jupiter is what you want to expand and magnetize. It's how you garner hope and optimism in easy times and in more challenging times. And the North Node represents the collective. It represents all of us, but it also represents fate. And that's why it's called the North Node of Fate. So this can bring very opportune situations. It can bring new opportunities, literally. It can bring great opportunities to learn, to teach, to travel. But in the sign of Taurus, Jupiter is going to transit in the sign of Taurus through May 25th of next year. And Taurus is ruled by Venus. That's the other benefic of the sky. And Venus rules two signs. It rules the sign of Taurus, which is a very practical earth sign centered on skills and talents and resources, but more importantly on value and of meaning, what is of worth. And Venus also rules the sign of Libra. That's more focused on relationships and partnering. But both signs are very associated with love and beauty and joy and happiness. And Taurus is really about being patient to expand what matters. And we've had a lot of energy in the sign of Taurus recently. We had Mercury retrograde at the world point at 15 degrees and 38 minutes of Taurus. And that happened on April 21st. Right in the middle of eclipse season. There was a total solar eclipse that occurred on April 20th, just the day before, and that was at the final degree of Aries, but it was only 10 minutes off from being in Taurus, squaring Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and power struggles. A lot of letting go, a lot of departures, a lot of issues around money, because both the signs Taurus and Scorpio are very focused on finances. Taurus is more how you earn money. Again, it's your worth and your value. And Scorpio represents debt, and it represents joint resources and credit and loans and mortgages. And it can also deal with intimacy, heavy emotional blocks. There was a total lunar eclipse that occurred, a lunar eclipse, but there was a lunar eclipse that occurred on May 5th, and that was just 2 minutes off from also being at the world point. So you can round it up to 15 minutes of Scorpio. That opposed where Mercury retrograded. That also set off the total lunar eclipse that occurred on November 8th at 16 degrees of Taurus. And that eclipse was conjunct Uranus, the planet of awakening and enlightenment, but also fast, rapid change and chaos, often associated with the Tower card. Uranus can really throw you off. It can change your life in an instant. And sometimes it can feel like a tornado, but it actually can get you out of your comfort zone or out of something maybe that already was tough. And it's upsetting during the process, but then it brings you something that brings freedom, that liberates you from something challenging. And eclipses are kind of similar in energy in that they can really get you out of your comfort zone. They can really, bring instant change in a flash that can change your life forever. But they also bring enlightenment. They make you see things like you never have before. So with all of this said, we're now out of eclipse season. Now Jupiter is transiting in a sign that wants to build value and worth. And it met up, or it is meeting up today with the North Node of Karma. That is beautiful energy. On June 2nd, Venus, which is transiting in the sign of Cancer, forms a beautiful trine to Neptune. And that occurs at 6:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's a really beautiful creative energy, very romantic. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. Neptune rules the sign of Pisces, and Saturn is currently stationing in the sign of Pisces. It's at 7 degrees, and it will retrograde on June 17th, so it's slowing down. And Venus will trine the moon in Scorpio at 8:42 p.m. tomorrow. That's very beautiful energy. And then it goes void of course with a trine to Venus. So this is very creative and loving energy. We are building up to a full moon that occurs on June 3rd at 11:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 13 degrees and 18 minutes of Sagittarius. And this full moon, I think, has beautiful energy. You've got the Venus-Neptune trine. So there's a very creative and loving energy. Mars trines the sun. On the following day, on the day after the full moon, Mercury meets up with Uranus. And Mercury is the planet of communication and learning, and Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. It's the planet of genius and ingenuity. And so there's a lot of innovation in this full moon. Sagittarius is very much connected with freedom and learning and life experience, learning through experience and adventure. And this is about releasing fear to magnetize hope. Because again, Jupiter is conjunct the North Node of Karma. This is bringing opportunities for you, and however this transpires, to create something of beauty in your life, to plant something slowly and have patience. Jupiter will be in Taurus through the end of May of next year, so you have a little time to work with this. But really focus on what you want to build in the collective and in your own life. And I think a lot of focus on the arts and beauty, because Jupiter is working in harmony with Saturn in Pisces. And both the signs of Pisces and Taurus I equate so much with music and the arts. Pisces so much with music, but the arts of all forms, and also Taurus very connected with music and food. I think a lot of a lot of people born under the sign of Taurus as foodies, but nonetheless there's a lot of creativity, and we need that. The full moon chart I cast for Washington DC, and it has Aquarius rising, the first degree. Pluto it's at 1 degree, but Pluto is conjunct the ascendant, and Pluto retrograded on May 1st at 0 degrees and 21 minutes of Aquarius. It re-enters Capricorn on June 11th, but it is transiting on and off the very first degree of Aquarius for the next year and a half, and it set off the new moon eclipse on April 20th, and it's also squaring the nodes of fate, bringing a change of direction, releasing what's hindering you so you can evolve. And I think it's really important to tap into power in this energy too. And with Mercury meeting up with Uranus on June 4th, this is a time to network and connect with others. This is really important with Pluto and Aquarius. As scary and frightening as AI is, and alienating in a time where we need to focus on mental health and connection and on the arts, real art, I think that we also need to build community, and Aquarius is the sign of community. So we evolve that process by being a part of it. And so how do you be a part of the collective and add beauty and value in your own life and to whatever community you find that resonates with you. So the other thing to bear in mind is that Venus enters the sign of Leo on June 5th. It's going to oppose Pluto, speaking of Pluto, and again, very strong Venusian energy because we've got a lot of points in Taurus right now. Vesta, the asteroid of hearth and home. You've got the north node of Karma, conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity. And with all of, and Uranus, of course, the great awakener, is transiting in the sign of Taurus. And we recently had the eclipses in the Taurus-Scorpio axis. And so with the opposition to Pluto, Venus opposing Pluto, releasing what's keeping you from growing something of beauty and value of your own worth, developing your own worth and something worthy of your talents and your time. So I wish you a lot of luck. I think the Jupiter North Node energy is beautiful. Venus is going to transit in the sign of Leo from June 5th through October 8th. And it's going to retrograde from July 22nd through September 3rd. So if there's something you want to initiate creatively or financially, the sooner the better. I believe it enters its retrograde, or its shadow on June 20th. I've got to check that fact. But when it gets to 12 degrees of Leo, because it's going to retrograde at the royal fixed star of Regulus, which is 28 degrees and 36 minutes of Leo. That's going to be on July 22nd, and it stations direct on September 3rd at 12 degrees and 12 minutes of Leo. And that's the day before Jupiter retrogrades at the world point at 15 degrees of Taurus, where Mercury just recently cleared its shadow. So much happening. Pay attention to the stories you've been hearing and learning in the last few weeks and in the eclipse season. Now Mercury is setting the tone to where Jupiter will retrograde in the beginning of September. Work with this energy to magnify and expand. I am offering a class. Check out my website. It's going to be a beginners to intermediate astrology class. It's a 6-week or an 8-week class rather. I gotta get it together. It begins on June 20th and it's going to, I'll give you more information, but it's $20 for a 2-hour class. And I record it, it's on Zoom, and the class is going to be between 10 and 20 people. So it'll be interactive and personal. Thank you so much and take care.